Welcome out there. Welcome to the official call. We are so privileged today to have an extraordinary person with us, Jacob Stitch Duran. Welcome to the show.
Extraordinaire.
Man, don't embarrass me like that, guys. What's up, man? Come on. Hey, we're going too long. We're a long ways, man. Come on. I appreciate it.
No, listen, when I told Charlotte that you guys called and invited me to your show, she goes, give them a hug and kiss for both of them. Man.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
You know, to every story, there's a beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So where exactly was it Planada?
Yeah.
This is where you grew up. Where exactly is that?
Well, if you notice the fights, I have Planada on my collar, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a place for sponsorships.
Okay.
But so anyway, I grew up in the San Joaquin Valley of California, the agricultural capital of the world.
Okay. Right.
And literally, I was born and raised in a migrant camp. As you look at my birth certificate, for the address, it's CPC number 12. California Packing Company. So I was there. We were talking about it last night with one of my friends. So we grew up in the migrant camp, and then 3 miles away was Planada, little town, 1,500 people, all farm workers, all Mexicans, right? And some whites, but that's it. So we moved there, and then that's became my home. And but we were farm workers from the beginning till the time that I joined the military. Got out, and that changed my whole life. But yeah, Planada.
Now to give, I'm from California, up north.
Yeah, you're a city guy.
But I'm a city guy. But to give me some perspective as to the location between the Bay Area and LA, where would Planada? Where would it be?
It's as you're going towards. You'd be on 99, Highway 99.
Yes.
Merced is the closest little town, closest town next to us. We're 9 miles away.
Okay.
And then you continue on 99 and you go another hour to Fresno. And
Okay.
it's between a bunch of orchards and canals and, so small town.
Yeah, well, Fresno rings a bell because back in my track days, they used to have the West Coast Relays.
Yes,
which was in Fresno.
And Modesto.
And the Modesto.
Yes,
That's
yes,
exactly
yes, of
right.
course, yeah.
We used to run Modesto as well.
Yeah.
Well, Stitch, you are universally known as one of the best cut men in the business. And I've been thinking how ironic it is that what started you down the path to being a cut man is an accident that you had growing up.
Oh, yeah. Well, couple, but this, I got cut right here. We were chopping cotton.
Yeah.
Right? And in those days, the cotton, the plants would be about this big. So you would go and basically you would give them room to grow, so you would go all the way down. So I'm sharpening the hoe, and boom, I cut myself. Well, my mother went and got spider webs. She applied them in there, put a handkerchief on there, told me to use the other hand. Got my scar right there.
Wow.
And I was talking to one of the ringside doctors here in Las Vegas, and I was telling him that this is what happened. The spider webs, and because we were talking about coagulants. And vasoconstrictors and all that. And I told him that story, and he goes, well, it really does make sense because when the spiders generate this and that. Anyway, so that was my start to being a cut man. And then another story I never told you, my oldest sister, our first nephew, Elvis, hit me with a bottle, and I got swollen. My sister got a spoon.
And swell.
And then swell. Yeah, I told you, man. Survival at its finished, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever told anybody that one.
Yeah.
Right.
My sister Dorothy got a spoon and applied it on there.
Amazing.
So destiny.
Now, Stitch, so in those early years, did you guys have a television? I mean, what drew you to boxing? I mean, these things were happening, but was there a time when you was able to watch some of the early boxing matches or anything that just drew you to the sport?
Yeah, well, it didn't draw me to the sport. Baseball was what I was.
Okay.
I loved baseball. I wanted to
Okay.
become a pro ball player.
Right.
Right. That was always my goal. That's why I walked on to Merced College. But now boxing, we just, every once in a while the Tuesday night fights with,
Okay.
my dad and,
Yes.
and all that. We would see that. But, I'm a young kid.
Right.
I really go out there and catch balls and
Right.
hit balls, right?
Right.
And but no, not until I got to Thailand.
Okay.
Stationed in Thailand. That's where I got into the martial arts.
You got in the martial
Got me
arts, and
going.
then the
Yeah.
ball started rolling.
Yeah.
So that love of Muay Thai is really the basis of your experience and ultimately what drove you to the business of treating cuts.
100%. I I told myself if I ever went to the Orient, I would want to study the martial arts. That was during the Bruce Lee era.
Right.
Well, let me go back. So I walked on to Merced College, which is 9 miles away from our town, all right, and to play baseball. So I would go to, I didn't have a car, so I would go to school with friends, and after school they would leave, and I'd stay and I'd practice with the team and
Right.
and had to hitchhike home.
Right.
And I knew nothing about grants and scholarships, and that's why I teach now, but I knew nothing about those. So I went to the recruiter, joined the military, and joined the Air Force.
Right.
And at first I went to the Navy physical because my brother was in the Navy.
Right.
And the doctor's checking my knee and it pops and you need surgery. I was bummed out. I heard it playing baseball, but I never did nothing. The Marine recruiter till this day never knew his name, but he took us to Castle Air Force Base, me and a buddy of mine, Marshall, and said, look, you don't want to be like these guys in the Air Force, right? He's all dressed out. You know what it's like. Of course. He's all dressed out and he's trying to tell me, you don't want to be like these guys, pants up to here. And, I said, no, I don't want to go to Vietnam, bro. So he's the one, till this day, never got his name. He's the one that said, all right, look, I'll get you a physical in Oakland. You go, don't tell him about your knee, and good luck. And I went and didn't tell him about my knee. I passed and joined the Air Force. And anyway, so fast forward, they sent me to Thailand in my second year, and I didn't even know what Thailand was, bro. I was a young Mexican kid that grew up as a farm worker, right? But I had friends that were already stationed there like 3 months before me. So they were acclimated. So they took me downtown to Banchan to see some fights. And I'm thinking boxing, right? Oh, this guy throws a kick and knocks this guy out. And I said, whoa, what's that? Bingo. So on the base for the GIs, they had Taekwondo, which is a Korean art. But Taekwondo sounds like Thailand. What did I know, right? So I took that, and then they left. The Koreans took over, and they transitioned us into the Muay Thai system, and got back and got into boxing. In Oakland, when I got out of the military, I was in Oakland, and started working with amateur fighters.
Yeah.
And then I started training them and all that, and moved to Fairfield, up in the suburbs, 40 miles from Oakland. And I opened up a school of kickboxing with just a credit card, bro. Show you how crazy I was.
Right.
But I was already, as a trainer in kickboxing, I was already recognized as the top trainer.
Right.
And that's how, I wanted to learn to be a cutman. I had to learn everything.
Right.
And but I went to this one show, I'll never forget, man. Bone Crusher Smith fought Marvis Frazier, Richmond, California.
Right.
Right? At the Richmond Auditorium. I walk in, I'm watching these guys, and this one guy does a good job on cuts. Early fight, one of the earlier fights. I go up to him and says, hey man, I'm trying to learn to be a cut man. Can you tell me what you did? How you did it? He says, F you. He goes, I'm taking this to my grave and you got to learn like me. He walked away.
Wow.
I felt about this big, bro.
Yeah.
You know what it's like,
Right.
And I said, I'm never going to be like him.
Right.
So that's why I teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you guys have been through the same thing, I'm
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, sure. We
Yeah.
all got the same story, man. But,
Yes, we do.
it's that perseverance. If you don't,
You got to keep pushing forward. And you mentioned Oakland. Did you ever go to King's Gym?
I was King's first member, bro.
Is that right?
So I tell you, I got a long history.
Right,
So what happened, I used to work
right.
for R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, right?
Okay.
I lived on 1446 28th Avenue. Well, Charles opened up a gym on 26th Avenue, East 14th, right?
okay.
A couple blocks from my house.
Yeah.
Being that I work with R.J. Reynolds, I'm always on the road, and they're putting it together. I'd go by all the time. They're putting the mirrors up, and Maurice Hope, never forget, they had this big old mirror, and they broke it in front of me. So anyway,
That ain't good.
well, not for them. But anyway, when they opened, I was the first one to put down $15, and that's how the first champions. I told you, I went into the amateur boxing. The first champions we got, Golden Glove champions, were out of King's Gym.
Was out of King's Gym.
Yeah.
Well, there is some history in King's Gym
Yeah.
because Andre Ward
Yes.
fought out of King's Gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andre was a young kid, and he told me then, he goes, Stitch, when I turn pro, I want you to be my cut man.
Right.
And
All right.
he kept his word.
Right. He
you
kept
know.
his word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody calls you Stitch. Now, I know that your real name is Jacob,
Yeah. Oh.
but how did you get the name Stitch?
Okay, well, let me tell you about Jacob first. So, in this documentary that they're doing, I have Michael B. Jordan's in it, right? I've done all three
yes.
Creed movies,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course, we
yeah.
all have, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wrapping Michael's hands in the third movie. I said, Michael, you know my real name? He says, Stitch. I said, no. Do you know my real name?
Right.
He says, I don't. Hey, Jacob. And this is in the document. Nah, you don't look like a Jacob. But I don't. All my friends are Rudy, Pancho, Jose, and I'm Jacob, right? And but the name Stitch came when I had my school of kickboxing. I was working with Dennis Alexio. Dennis at that time was the best athlete I ever met in my life.
Right.
They retired his number in high school for baseball and football. Great athlete. Wow. But he was a kickboxing world champ. And because he saw me kicking in the bag, he said, who is this guy? You know, I just got back from Thailand.
Right.
And I told him where I was at and all that, so we became together. Yeah. So anyway, him and Dave Rooney, his sparring partner, are fighting in Vallejo, California at the fairgrounds.
Oh, okay.
And I'm learning to be the cut man at that time, right? And I see the guys would get tape and the little pieces of butterfly tape, right? So Dave Rooney had a cut, and I did the same thing. He goes, oh man, I don't have to go to the hospital. You save me stitches. I'm gonna call you Stitch. And that's where the name came from.
That's where you got.
And, you know, I to this day I don't even know if Dave Rooney knows how he changed my life. You know, last time I heard he was a fisherman in Alaska.
Right.
But that's how the name came. Stitch.
Right.
You know, and in the Creed movie, right? My name's Marcel. I was like, man, I got to change that somehow. but when it was time for Rocky to introduce us to Adonis, he's the one that says, oh, man, this is Stitch, the best cut man in Philadelphia. Man, you don't think I was happy? Yeah, I was blessed, man.
Yeah. Stitch, tell me, and for the fans, because, you know, I was an inspector with the commission for 7, 8 years, and a glove man, and standing in the corner and watching a cut man work on a fighter's cut. Tell the fans what's the first thing that you look for. The worst that I was taught as an inspector, they're called thumpers, where every time the pulse would beat, blood would ooze out of the cut. Just give a little rundown on as a cut man, what you have to do, what you look for when it comes to dealing with.
Well, I've never seen that.
You've never seen that?
Never seen that? No, that one's got a lot of cuts, brother. I've never seen it. No, I've never seen it. But so whenever I'm working a fight, every round. Well, here's what I'll do. Let's say I'm working with you for the first time, right?
Okay.
I'll go sit down with the coaches and even yourself. I said, look, give me the right side of the ring.
Right.
Give me his face. You guys do everything else.
Right.
Then I'll go to the fighter and I'll say, look, man, I'm not going to wait till you start swelling. I'm going to do a lot of preventive maintenance. I'm going to keep ice on you every round.
Good.
Right? And so I get, you know, we work that way, right? Because there's a lot of guys with top rank working with them now, a lot of new guys that I work with. So I established that. But once there's a cut, my whole focus is a face. And I have everything already ready to go, worst case scenario.
Right.
And I'm looking, as soon as the bell rings, boom, I get up there. And the first thing I do is I close it to kind of, and then I'll clean it, then I'll close it. And what you do, you start closing up the blood vessels. How many times you get cut and you do this, right?
Right.
And then blood coagulates itself. So you do that, and then I apply the adrenaline chloride 1-1000, the medication on the swab, right?
Yes.
And then I'll finish it up with a mixture of adrenaline and Vaseline.
Right.
Now here's what I do on the educational burst. I'll ask you guys, all right? You guys are referees, you guys are Hall of Famers and all that. The adrenaline chloride 1-1000 that we use, that's, what's the mechanical function for that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Shuts the blood vessels down to stop the bleeding.
Yes. Yeah, it's a vessel constrictor.
Yes.
So I'll teach young kids. I say, look, man, if you're looking for a cut man, ask him that question. What does the adrenaline chloride 1-1000 do?
Yes.
If he says it's a coagulant, get another cut man.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. Right? And it's a vessel constrictor. Simple things like that.
Yes.
Because in our game, Kenny and Robert, none of us, coaches, cut men, have to be certified to be called professionals.
Exactly.
You guys do.
Yes.
You guys go through your process, right?
Yeah.
But not us.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'll be done.
education, that's why
Yeah.
try to do what I can.
Yeah.
Well, you do. I know you do cuts, and that's what you're known for. But you also wrap hands. And how important is that in terms of preparation?
100%. 100%. I was talking about it just the other day. I put a video out about 3-4 months ago called "Giving the Fighter One More Round," because I'm doing a seminar in Mexico on September 20th, but I can't do seminars all the time because I'm doing other fights.
Yeah.
So I put a video together, and it shows how to wrap hands for boxing, for MMA, to work cuts, everything that I do, and it's only $50. And it's not to make money, it's so that you guys could get it,
Right.
that you could learn, and then I open my doors up for, if you have any comments, let me know. So people ask that all the time, and you know how important it is. Yeah, 100%. Not only the medical, but the psychological. And we were talking about Andre Ward, right? When Andre, I think he fought Edison Miranda, and Virgil Hunter, his coach, says, you know, Andre kind of hurt his hand during training. That's all right. So the night before the fight, I go over there and we talk and what happened, this and that, and I'll go through a dress rehearsal on him, add a little more, this and that, and to the point where he feels confident. Take that out of his mind, you know. And but those are things that you got to look at, the little things, right? Now you talk about. Let me get in. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, because I was gonna talk about that, because you talk about knowing a fighter's feelings, and how they feel.
Yeah.
And what that does is lend credibility to you. We've experienced that as referees.
Sure.
Because we go to the gym, we work the sparring.
Yes.
And I can tell you that if we happen to work that fighter's fight, automatically they feel comfortable. They know us. They know what we're about. They know that we've trained almost as difficult and hard as they have. Knowing how they feel, so that's a big part of your thing. And I think you talk about your relationship with Klitschko.
Yeah.
Where that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that, but you're absolutely right, because when a guy sees you guys in the corner, number one, they know they're in good hands, but better yet, they know that they're fighting at the high level.
Yes.
You know, and that's so important.
Yeah.
Vladimir Klitschko, of course, we were in Switzerland together, right?
Yes, we were.
So, but his last fight with Anthony Joshua in Wembley Stadium, like 90,000 crazy Brits and all that. I didn't get there till Thursday night because my daughter Carla had gotten married in the island of Crete.
Right.
So I didn't see Vladimir and Vitaly till Friday at the weigh-ins. And we're like this, talking, and, you know, how things, and just going through all the dimensions and all that. Finally, I put my hand on Vladimir, and I said, come here, Robert. I said, look, man, don't worry about nothing tomorrow. I'm going to take care of you like you're my son. And I leave, because I know they can't sleep at night. Bro, I'm putting the final Vaseline on him like this, man. And he looks at me and says, you could call me son.
Right.
Bro, right in the middle, and it, you know. And last time I saw him was like 3 months later in Germany. And very simply, I said, Vladimir, that one moment, why? He says, Stitch, there's very few people I trust in my life. You're one of them.
Yeah.
You know, Tyson Fury, on the fight that I work with him, the ice thing. Now, I'm getting ready to pack, got my stuff. I'm saying goodbye to everybody. He's in his shorts, ready to take a shower. Gives me a kiss, says, Stitch, I love you. Thanks for keeping ice on me. Simple. Simple but effective. You guys know what it's like.
Oh yeah.
You care not only about the craft, you care about the person.
100%. Yeah, it's everything's a person.
And that's a big thing nowadays.
It's a big thing, and I would like to add this. Me and Stitch, I did the Klitschko fight in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And Stitch was a Cutman, and to just tell you what kind of guy this guy is, my son was traveling Europe doing some ministry work. And I explained to Stitch what he was doing and how long he had been in Europe. Stitch shelled out a few dineros of love.
my per diem money, bro.
Yes.
And you know the Klitschko thing.
Oh, yeah.
Per diem, right?
Which would really touch my heart and my wife's heart, because she was along on the trip. But Kenny Jr. really appreciated that.
No, I had a good time talking to him and all that. But I understand. My wife would be going crazy to know he literally hitchhiked and did everything in Europe. Everything. And I'm thinking, wow, man, you know, how do I, you know, my mother always says, you give, you get it back 10 times more.
Exactly.
You know, and it's not it's not about economics. We're talking about it now. That's that moment.
That's
See,
right.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm going to tell something about you that a lot of people don't know. You often get confused.
Oh, shit.
You often get confused with a fellow by the name of Edward James Olmos, an actor. Have you signed any autographs?
I tell you what, man, I get stopped all the time to the point where I mean, it's insane. There's I don't know, I can't show you guys, but there's a video here where he's talking. He says, "Yeah," he goes, "People stop me all the time. They call me Stitch. Hey, Stitch." So it happened all the time.
Right.
And so what happened is he was going to do a movie with John Jones, UFC fighter. So I knew he was going to be in town, right?
Right.
And so I'm in the back dressing room wrapping hands, and one of the UFC staff says, "Hey, Edward James Olmos wants to meet you." Oh, man. I go down the hall, I turn, and we're in the green screen like this, and we look at each other. Same thing, bro.
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah, you know. So, yeah. I get stopped all the time.
It is. It's incredible. The likeness is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So, talking about that, you have experience in movies. Just talk about a little bit about, your venture into movies.
Just by the faith of
We've
God,
done a
like-
couple together.
Yeah,
Yes,
of course.
yeah.
Hey,
Yes,
and you know
yeah.
what? It's because they call me, "Hey, man, do you know any referees?" Of course I do. but Michael B. Jordan,
Yeah.
they rely on authenticity.
Yes.
I told Ryan Coogler in the first one, I said, "Look, if I see something that's not right, I'm going to bring it up to your attention."
Right.
But that's when they call me, you know
Yeah.
any referees? Of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course, and
Yeah.
but just by the faith, what happened in the first one, I've been in 7 movies.
Yeah.
The first one was Woody Harrelson, Antonio Banderas. Here, played to the bone.
Right.
And what happened, I had just leaving R.J. Reynolds Tobacco company I work with, because I wanted to concentrate on this.
Right.
And I'm working with my manager, and I have a call at 3:30 for an audition.
Right.
And I said, "Augie," I said, I got an audition. He goes, "Man, I'm just here to sign you out." Boom. So I went and did the audition and
Right.
got the job. And I was Woody Harrelson's Cutman. I wanted to be Antonio Banderas' Cutman because he was Latino, right?
Yeah.
But Chuck Boda got in my way.
Yeah.
But it was Chuck and I, right? And then the second one I did was Ocean's 11, when Vladimir
Yes.
fought Lennox Lewis when they
Yes.
robbed the casino.
Right.
After that, I became Vladimir's Cutman for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then I did Balboa when Rocky fought his
Rocky
last
Balboa.
fight. I brought in Livingstone Bramble and Don House.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
My friends, guys, that authenticity. Then I did Balboa.
Yeah.
Joe Cortez called me.
Right.
Hey, man, so-and-so. And I had a fight with Fabrice Tiozo in France, title fight. And then the week after with Audley Harrison in England. I turned it down.
Yeah.
I called my wife, and she goes, "Are you crazy?" I said, "Rocky's an American icon."
Right.
And I thought about it, and I was already negotiating with Audley Harrison's
Yeah.
people, and I deleted it, and I said, "I hope you understand."
Right.
Turns out Tiozo's fight got canceled anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So follow your wife's advice, man.
Yeah.
And then Creed 1, Creed 2,
Yeah.
and Creed 3.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Well, often when one door closes, another one opens.
Yes.
You began with the UFC, MMA, and UFC, because your background was in MMA.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, actually, it's my background was kickboxing, and but I knew Dana before the UFC. I would always see him in the gyms, and he would be doing the pad work for the executives, for the wife. Shit, he was making more money than us, But he was not really what you would call. I don't think I ever saw him work a fight. Anyway, but he's the one. I was doing a K1 at the Bellagio, and
I remember
Dana's
those.
in the audience, and he asked for my card and called me the next day. He said, "Look, man, we bought the UFC and wanted to see if you'd be one of the Cutmen." Leon Tabbs, the original
Right,
Cutman.
yeah.
And I said, "Yeah." So Burt Watson, myself, and Leon Tabbs put that program together as house Cutmen for the UFC.
Right.
And to the point now where they use like five guys. And but yeah, I was with them for like 15 years, and I was the primary Cutman. So you would come to me as a sponsor. I would negotiate for me, but then also negotiate for Robert. Wouldn't make as much as me, but he'd make something. If you got 3 or 4 sponsors, Leon Tabbs bought a Cadillac. So anyway, but yeah, I was talking about Planada on my collar, right?
Yeah.
But that's prime location for sponsors.
Right.
But I gave it to Planada because as I'm working on the fighter, the cameras are here. So they always
Right.
pick that up, but that's, that was to support them. But anyway, things were going great, and all of a sudden they go into the Reebok deal and excluded everybody from using their own sponsors and didn't really notify them.
Right.
And so everybody's effing Dana, UFC, Reebok, everybody, the whole thing.
Right.
And they call us, the Cutmen, and they brought us all in and says, "Look, guys can't have sponsors.
Yeah.
And I said, all right. So I try to negotiate for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been, my parents were fighting for the rights of farm workers.
Right.
I'm doing the same thing for the Cutman. And we have no money and, and all that. So, all right. So anyway, there's one guy, John Nash, and he's in the documentary. I don't know how they found him. He called me out of the blue. Never met the man still yet. He says, would you be interested in doing an interview how the Reebok deal affected the Cutman?
Right.
So I thought about my parents fighting for the rights for
Right.
farm workers, right? And I said,
Right.
if I don't, they wouldn't be proud of me. So I did, and I worked corporate America, so I was very politically correct. But maybe I said, maybe I ought to concentrate a little bit more on boxing, since boxing pays a little bit more. Well, it didn't go well.
Yeah.
But it went well without the world, because I'm getting messages from everywhere. And I go to Costco, and Charlotte and I are there, and one of my friends know him, and you know him very well. Do you have time to talk? And I knew what it was about. He says, well, give me an hour. I get home, they called, and the only thing he said is, because of the interview you did about Reebok, the UFC's not going to use you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I said, okay, boom, we cut a little shot. That's all right. Will you do me a favor? You tell Dana, I said, he ain't got no balls, that she should have called me, since he's the one that brought me in, you know.
Right.
And first guy I message, I'm getting tons of messages.
Yeah.
First one I read, I messaged back to him, want you to be the first to know, UFC let me go, speaking out about the Reebok deal, got to find a new job. That shit went.
Yeah.
I did 57 interviews, Kenny, in a week.
Wow.
Yeah, I had camera crews coming to
Yeah.
my house,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
so it was the biggest thing in MMA,
Right.
because I did the right thing. And 2 weeks later, UFC has their first big show on Fox Network, and Karen Bryant's interviewing Dana. Well, what about Stitch Duran, the thing that happened? Will Stitch ever be back and all that? Nah, Stitch will never be back and this and that and all. Then he blows it at the end and saying, Stitch and I were never friends. And that's
Really?
Yeah. So, But I
yeah.
did the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. The best thing ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And people still stop me all over the world.
Right.
Wesley Snipes came up to me. Goldberg came up to me.
Yeah.
But the best compliment I've gotten when we did the shows at the Bubble with the MGM with Top Rank.
Oh, yes.
One of the Brazilian coaches, I hadn't seen him in 10 years. He comes up to me and says, Stitch, we, the coaches, the fighters, we thank you for speaking up because we couldn't.
There you go.
Good.
There you go.
Good.
I'm done.
I just got one question in relationship to UFC and boxing. When you did UFC cards, did you feel that cuts happened more often in UFC?
Yes.
Knowing that they can strike with the
Yes.
elbow, kick,
Yes.
knee, do all the things that
Yes,
you do.
100%. And the cuts are bigger and multiple.
And
Multiple
multiple.
cuts. Yeah, 'cause you're using elbows, you're using knees,
Yeah.
and all that. And like Forrest, I don't know if you guys worked when he fought Shogun. He had that big old cut that he got there. The one Badu Jack had, the one
Yes.
that Tim Tszyu had, that big vein. Jay Haran, the bloodiest fight I ever worked was when he fought Jonathan Collette. Those. Yeah, but it's a big giant vein.
Yeah.
That you can see the
Yeah.
blood get. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But down here, nah. Anyway, so that was the bloodiest fight I ever worked, Jay Haran and them.
Yeah.
And so, we're talking about Klitschko. When Klitschko worked his first fight, when he had just come back from losing his world title to Lehman Brewster.
Which
And
I did that.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Oh,
I did that.
Thanks, man. Well, anyway, he fought Gabriel Williamson, Outdoor Caesars.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel Stewart, like you were talking, I used to co-host a radio show, and we're watching fans go into the MGM, and Emmanuel's his tuxedo and says, I need to talk to you about Vladimir. Did you see what I saw? Well, he called me the next day, said, Vladimir wants a Cutman that was in the movie with him. And that's how I ended up with Vladimir.
Vladimir.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's just a lot of good stories, man.
Yeah.
Talk about something that's close to your heart. You did a biograph, a video called From the Fields to the Garden.
Yeah.
And I know that's near and dear to you. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I didn't. They did it for me, and I'm the kind of guy where if you want to do it, let's do it. I wrote a couple books when I was with the UFC called From the Fields to the Garden. Growing up as a farm worker, the fields
Right.
and the garden was my goal to make it to Madison Square Garden. I think I was there like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Right.
So they already know me, bro.
That's where the title came from.
Yeah, that's where the title came from, the book.
Okay.
So they came up to me and offered to do a documentary. Well, let's do it, right? So we're just like about done now. It's From the Fields to the Garden, and today we talked about hopefully showing it at Sundance. I think January 26th to the 1st and all that.
Yeah.
So it's real inspirational because it's my story, it's your story.
Right.
We've all been through the same
Yes.
things, and so with what's happening with immigration now, it hurts my heart because those are the people that they're sending back are the people I live with.
Right.
people I worked with, people I know, and none of them were criminals. They're all hard workers.
Yeah.
So I talked to the producers about let me go back home and let me show it to the people I grew up with in the migrant camp, the
Right.
ones I grew up with as farm workers.
Right.
And there's about 150 of us. So we got a theater. We stayed at the hotel and had mariachi celebrating. So what we did from the hotel to the theater, it's a 7-minute walk on Main Street.
Right.
We all walked the line like Cesar Chavez did when he walked from Delano to Sacramento in support of the farm workers. So
Right.
that was my tribute to giving back to them.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a pretty nice film. It made a lot of people cry, and because it was their story. And one of the moments I'll mention it to you is really nobody. In fact, my family, my brothers and sisters never talked about it. But my father was an alcoholic. All right, and this resonated with a lot of people I invited because their fathers were alcoholics. But like I told them, in our little town of 1,500 people, there's 3 bars and 1 store. So after work, these men would work hard, and then go hit the bars.
Hit the bar.
Yeah. I know. The potato chips and orange sodas, man. My dad would take us, park the truck there, and bring us an orange soda and chips, and they'd be in there drinking. You know,
Yeah.
that was their lifestyle.
Yeah.
That was
But
the
a lot of
lifestyle.
people, it affected them because that was their lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But you know, the thing that points out, this game is such a wonderful game and has been for Kenny,
Yep.
certainly for me.
Yep.
But it speaks to how you can go from nothing
Mhm.
to everything.
Yeah.
You know, the game is such a wonderful game. And which brings me to my next point. There's a lot going on in boxing, especially with the marriage of the Sheikh and Dana. Some of the things that they want to do. And a part of what they want to do is make some amendments to the Muhammad Ali Act.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, you know what? Dico Ali is a good friend of mine. Biagio, his brother, he does MMA. Nico had already wrote a statement on that he's against them changing the Muhammad Ali Reform Act.
Yeah.
It was designed in 2000, 25 years ago, to protect the fighters, right?
Yes.
So what these guys want to do is they want to have their own entity, kind of like the UFC. They want to create their own champions. They want to have their own salaries. So basically, they separate TKO from boxing as it is boxing, right? And you know, let me add is my daughter Carla, I'm so proud of her. She's always been, she's like me. She's always fought for the rights of fighters. And you know, the UFC had just settled out of court with a $370 million money that they give back to some of the fighters. So anyway, a couple of weeks ago, she went to New Orleans and spoke on behalf of them at the ABC convention, the Association of Boxing Commissions.
Yes.
And she's going through all the facts and figures and all that. And Mike Masuli, the chairman, cut her off. You know, cut her off and you know, this and that. He didn't want to hear it. So she sent me a video of this Native American Haskell from Oklahoma that got up there, and he's with the tribals in Oklahoma, and he says, you know, this decision should not be made based on the votes of 10 people, the committee. It should be voted amongst all of us, since we all put money into this program, right? He got cut off.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
boy.
So is it going to happen? And that's, you know, that's why I told Carla, you know, she talked to me and I said, look, the bottom line is we're going to lose because of the politics that are involved in it, you know, who, what, and where.
Yeah.
But you keep fighting for the rights of these people, you
Exactly.
know. And so, so they'll have their own entity.
Yeah.
You know, you won't need no WBC, WBA championships.
And I was, and I said what they're proposing really is going to really change the landscape of boxing. If,
100%.
in fact, they are successful in doing it. And some of the things that they want to do are questionable.
Yes.
The one of the things that I understand they want to do is they want to go back to the original 8 categories, 8 champions. That's it. And most of the people that I talked to said that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
Because there are people who, you know, are 140 pounds and they're never going to be 147.
Right.
one of the reasons they came up with the junior titles was because of that.
Yeah.
And it gave a lot more people opportunities in the sport.
Right.
To do that is going backwards. It's taking the sport backwards, I would think. And the other thing that I am really concerned about is how is that new entity, the boxing league or whatever they're going to call it, how is that going to interface with all of the sanctioning bodies? Because what they're talking about is definitely going to have an impact on that.
Yeah, they're going to have their own champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they want fighters to fight tough, hard fights every fight. They don't want them to dance around, and they want them to stand in the trenches and fight. And the way the present system works, WEC, WBA, is that fighters don't have to fight hard fights every fight. They can pick a lesser opponent depending upon the ratings and who's available at the time. So that way it'll preserve the fighters. Their careers won't be 3 years or 5 years. They may be able to extend it 8 or 10 years, which is what we'd rather see.
Yeah. And I just read the other day where they want to change the weigh-ins to the day of the fight for the Canelo-Crawford fight, because Crawford's coming up a couple weight divisions, and I guess, but the reason that was changed was because fighters cannot hydrate in time to be at 100% functionable that same day of the weigh-in.
Yes.
And that's important because dehydration is one of the main reasons why fighters get hurt.
Probably number one reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And speaking of Crawford and Canelo, what is your pick, or what do you think?
I don't pick them. I don't care.
Well, I'm pretty much like you. And even during our career, we couldn't have a favorite anyway to keep us neutral. And the best thing for me is that we get entertained, and no one seriously gets hurt. That's the key.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's always been to my mind, and when I talk to people, the thing that was most important to them was that the fights that they had were competitive.
Yeah.
They didn't want to come in and know that this guy over here is going to win the fight.
Yeah.
They wanted fights that were going to be competitive.
Yeah.
And they really didn't care who won as long as the fight itself was competitive.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely a proponent of that. That's what people want to see. That's what they pay good money to see. And that's another big issue now, because back in our day, you could see the top names on CBS and ABC,
free TV,
wide world free TV, and now that's pretty much gone by the wayside. So if you pay your hard-earned money, there should be a product out there that's worthy of you paying that money.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. And then to see a fight at Allegiant Stadium, I mean, these guys are gonna be about this big. Let me say way up there. You'll be looking at the giant screen. So it's more for that than anything else. So.
Yeah. It'll be a moment in time where you can say, "I was there."
Well, that's it. But I've been to a lot of places. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
for us.
So
it's
And
You did another video a little while back. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Oh, I'm glad.
I know that's close to you.
It's major to my heart, and I'm gonna send it to you, Kenny. I sent it to Robert.
Yeah.
About 25 years ago, I was nobody, but I did an interview on how I wanted to teach, do videos, right? And videos more wrapping hands, like what I did now. And by the way, that video that I did for $50 at StitchDuran.com.
Go for it.
But you know what? The money, it's not even for me. I give it to my kids. The money that comes in is for my kids. It's not that. Yeah. But anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. I was talking about so the boxer's nightmare.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this young kid, John Barnhouse, read the story, and he says, "Look, I just graduated from the American Film Institute. I'd be glad to help you out, for the experience. So I know this much about film. He knows a little bit about film." But we went out there and we got some interviews that we put a film together called Boxer's Nightmare.
Mhm.
And it dealt with all the issues that were happening to boxing then. And we never did nothing because I was nobody, right? And go ahead. John passed away about a year ago.
Mhm.
And I looked at this film and I'm thinking, oh my God. I said, everybody here are all Hall of Famers. Everybody. I got Richard Steele, Joe Cortez, Mills Lane. Your guys. I got Mike Tyson before he got his tattoos, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, Fernando Vargas, Mills Lane, Chuck Bodak, Miguel Diaz, Doc Rodas, Dr. Hermansky, Dr. Goodman, Mark Ratner at that time was a commissioner. All these people talked about the issues that were hurting boxing then, and they had solutions.
Mhm.
And nothing's been done. So anyway, John passed away about a year ago. And I looked at this film and I think, oh my God, this is really the Bible for boxing. If you listen to what these guys say, they have an answer on how we can make this game safer and better, right? So what I want to do now that, then I was still Jacob, right? People didn't know. Well, I'm now a little bit more recognized.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to get current interviews. And now I want to interview guys in MMA because it's affecting them. Dementia pugilistica, contracts, dehydration, everything that was happening to boxers then is still happening now.
Right.
Now it includes all combat sports.
Yeah.
So I might call it Boxer's Nightmare 25 years later. So,
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
got one final question for you. There's a new thing out there called slap.
Oh, I think it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Okay.
It's horrible. The object of the game is to render his opponent unconscious.
Right.
That's it. It's horrible.
Right.
It's horrible. But see, that's why this TKO promotion is going to pass, because those are the same people that have influence over commissioners and all that to allow that to happen. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. Because and it just goes against, like I said, you grew up in the hood. I grew up in the hood. If you came up and you hit me, okay. But if you came up and slapped me,
Yeah.
oh,
I'll stab you.
It was on.
Hey, the
It
Mexican
was on. Yeah, let me tell you, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
The idea that you would come up with a sport that that's what they do, that didn't sit well with me.
Yeah. And I guess it's real big within like the Eastern European countries.
That's where it started at.
Yeah.
Overseas.
Yeah. I mean, it should be banned, and I'm surprised people aren't making a lot of noise on that. Well, because of who's handling it.
Yeah.
Well, Stitch, once again, it's been marvelous hanging out with you, which we do often.
Of course.
But we're so glad that you came on to the official call, hang out with us. Kenny,
Appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
No, it's good, barbershop talk, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is, man. Three old guys
Yeah.
talking about our experiences and life, the way it's treated us, and
Yeah.
where it's going and where we're going, and we've all been blessed, and I
That's
still
the
look
key.
at myself as that young kid that grew up as a farm worker. So what am I doing here with you guys? You know?
Yeah.
But sure, we're on the same
But you
boat.
said the key. We've been blessed.
Yeah.
We've all been blessed.
Yeah. But we earned it.
But we earned it.
Nothing has been given to us.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Till this
right.
day, I swear to God, I've never asked for one job.
Right.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't kiss nobody's butt. That's not my nature.
Exactly.
I hear you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. We'll see you at the next Creed movie.
Yes.
We hope.